Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to be going over a Fire Trap Assassin build. It's a build that I've been messing around with, wanting to try and bring it to life, and it actually does pretty well. I believe it's quite underrated. For those of you that don't know, the Fire Trap Assassin build is dominant in the beginning of a ladder reset, which I will be doing a video on that later on. Before we begin, if you could please like this video and subscribe to help me grow, I would greatly appreciate it. So I'm going to start off with the gear choices here. So for the weapon, there's two options here. I chose to go with Heart of the Oak. That gives +3 to skills, some mana, and some resistances. This is a cheaper version of what I'm going to say next. And then for my shield, I chose to go with a Phoenix Monarch. With the Redemption Aura, it helps regenerate mana pretty good, and then it also gives negative to fire enemy resistances, which helps out. Another option you can do here would be Trap Claws. You could get +2 to Assassin skills with +3 to Wake of Fire, so you'll have 5 to Fire skills here for your traps and 5 here as well. That would be another viable option, but for this video, I'm going with a cheaper and easier version to do. And if you can't afford a Phoenix Monarch yet, you could always go with a Spirit Monarch. That gives +2 to skills, faster cast rate, and some resistances as well. For your armor, the only choice here would be Enigma. It gives +2 to skills and teleport, which is a must. For your helmet, I like going with Flickering Flame. It gives +3 to fire skills. It gives negative to enemy fire resistances. And to help counteract the Sunder Charm, it gives the Resist Fire Aura, which really helps with that. So overall, this is probably your best helmet. If you can't afford this or can't get a Vex Rune for some reason, you could always go with a Shaco. For the amulet, I went with a Mara's. It gives +2 to skills and resistances. And then for the rings, I went with 2 Stones of Jordans. Again, it helps out with your mana, and then they also give 1 to skill, so a nice choice. For the belt, I went with Arachnids, faster cast rate, and +1 to skills. For your gloves, I went with Mage Fist to give +1 to fire skills, faster cast rate, and it helps with mana regeneration. And then boots, you could substitute whatever you want. I just went with the Sandstorm Treks here. They give strength, life, and some faster hit recovery and poison resistance. For my charms, I went with 8 Trap Life Grand Charms. Get as much life as you possibly can on these. And then I went with 1 Sunder Charm. Try to get a -70. That's the best one you can get. For the torch, try to get as best stats as you can. Same with the Annie, try to get as much attributes and resistances as you can. For the rest of the small charms, it's up to you. If you're going to use Fade for skills, then you don't need resistances, but for here I just got 20 life with some resistances. Again, if you need a cheaper version of this, you could get 20 plain lifers and 5 resist all or single targeted resistance small charms, which go up to 11. So you could get a small charm with 11 lightning resistance, 11 fire resistance, etc. Just depends on what you need, or if you're struggling with mana still, get some mana small charms. For the mercenary, I went with an Act 2 Holy Freeze mercenary to help slow enemies down. I gave him an Eth Fort and Andes with a Ral Rune in it. Ral Rune helps with the fire resistance that it naturally lacks. And then I went with an Eth Infinity for the Conviction Aura to help take away from the enemy's resistances. For stats, for strength, you're going to want to put enough strength to wear your gear. Enigma gives a huge strength bonus. And if you're going to wear a shield, you want to make sure you have enough strength to wear the Monarchs. So I have 70 base strength in here to make sure I can wear my Spirit on the Switch as well. For dexterity, this just depends on if you're going with claws or not. If you're going with claws, you could do the claw blocking skill to help with blocking. I love max blocking, but I'm not going to add that much dexterity onto my caster. So I have about 45% to block. So I put about 150 base points. This is a little bit heavy, but you could go a little bit less. And then the rest of your stat points I put into Vitality to get as much life as possible. And here you can see I have plenty of resistances. My skills, I put none in the martial arts skills. You don't need those. For my Shadow Discipline skills, if you don't have max resistances, put 1 into Fade. That'll help a lot. And then I put 1 in the Shadow Master. I know some people don't like Shadow Master, but I use it as a meat shield, so I put 1 here. It's just annoying when it casts Mind Blast sometimes, but I get over it. And then I put 1 into Mind Blast myself in case I need to knock back some targets. For your skills, you're going to be using Wake of Fire. So you max Wake of Fire and then you max the synergies for it, which is Fire Blast. And I put Fire Blast on my left click as well because as you can see, it does an insane amount of damage. And then I also max out Wake of Inferno as it is another synergy for Wake of Fire. So to deal with fire resistances for when the conviction and everything doesn't break them, for your enemies, I just put my leftover remaining points into my lightning trap skills. I like using Death Sentry because it causes corpse explosions. So I'll throw about 4 Wake of Fire traps and then 1 Death Sentry. And once an enemy dies while I'm kiting them with Fire Blast, the Death Sentry corpse explosion just knocks them all down. As you can see in the cow video that I'll put at the end of this, it's just crazy. So you have options here. It just depends on what you want to do. And again, if you are using claws, you could put some points into weapon block to make sure you get the percentage you need. And this is my fire trap assassin build. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys get a chance to test it out. If you want to test it out in single player, I made a single player video on how to use a hero editor from a website. So be sure to check that out and test this build out for yourself. I like it. I believe it's underrated and it just mows everything down in its path. So I will be posting the cow video right after this. So again, thanks for checking out my video. If you haven't, please give this video a like and subscribe.